2023. I request Dr. P. Usharani, Coordinator, Professor, RMD EEE Department, to provide an introduction about today's session presenter. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, sir. A very good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all for the last day session. I welcome Dr. Premlata Jana Madam, Associate Professor, IIT Roorkee. Thank you very much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation to deliver the lecture on architecture of smart grid. On behalf of our management, our college, and on my own behalf, I once again welcome and thank you for accepting our invitation to deliver the lecture in our STTP in your busy schedule. Let me brief about, yes, ma'am. Let me brief about Madam's profile. Madam completed BTech EEE from Uttal University 2001, MTech IIT Kharagpur 2006, PhD IIT Kharagpur 2011. Areas of interest: smart grid technology and protection, microgrid protection, signal processing, application to power system relaying, power system protection issues with fax devices, protection scheme development for a line with fax devices, disturbance localization. From 2011, she was with IIT Roorkee, more than 10 years experience. From 2012, IIT Roorkee. Madam got Women Scientist Award Scholarship from DST for the year 2011, PASCO PS Award for the year 2013, Indian National Academy of Engineering Young Engineer Award 2013, Early Career Research Award SERB DST for the year 2016, Women Excellence Award in the year 2017. Projects 7 completed from DST, SERB, CPRI, MHRD, THDC, SERB, transmission lines, hydropower plants. Membership, IEEE and INAEE, Young Associate. Lectures delivered more than 15. Conferences and courses organized 5. Book chapter Springer. Publications, international journals 17. International conferences 25. I request Dr. Premlata Jana Madam to handle the session. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, a very good morning to all of you. And I'm really very happy to Dr. Usharani. I like her way of, handling the things in a proper way. And in fact, in the last session also I have attended. I say that this kind of introduction or something is not required, but still at the same time, I need your encouragement and some kind of motivation from your side. And with this, today I'll start my session, but anything wrong goes, you can reject it, and anything good goes, then you can take home. So that is what is my things. It goes like that in every session, I said from the beginning. And of course, I need your support and your cooperation as usual. So let us start. I'll share my PPT and we'll start talking about this very important topic. And I'm sharing this. My slides are visible to all of you. It is visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'll just make it in slide form. I'll just make it in view form so that everybody can see it. Let me slide form. Okay. So again, once again, welcome to this session from my side. And so this topic, the last topic I have covered, if some of you are present in that session, the introduction to the smart grid and some concept of and definition of smart grid, and then I just discussed over there what is microgrid and what are different production challenges and all. So, but here I'll just try to give a brief idea of this architecture of smart grid. What it looks like and how it looks like when we go to build some buildings. So the architecture plays a great role, right? So while we are designing some building, so where will be my rooms, where will be my office, where will be my carriage, where will be my entry door, whatever. So those kind of architecture things also required for a smart grid environment. We cannot do just like as it is. So there are certain ways out, and according to that we have to move. And of course, all of you, I think, aware about it. What is the smart grid? I do not go for that, as all of us very much know that. As the two pictures I kept in the left and right side, you can see the very overwhelmed resources like wind and renewable sources like solar. So we just want to make it greener. Our city should be greener. Our building should be greener, and our mankind life should be greener. So in that concept, the only and only solution is the renewable source penetration to the existing grid, and to handle this uncertain, very uncertain and very intermittent in nature kind of renewable sources. The smart grid is the one technology to handle those situations. So coming to this architecture, if you see that the overview of this architecture is like this, and this is taken from US Department of Commerce. This is published, basically this is in 2010. So the standard, this National Institute of Standards and Technology, you cannot say that this standard is basically followed by some person or some papers. Always, in the last also discussion, I said there are certain standards and norms are basically developed, and that should be followed by all the utilities and customers, as well as the researchers and the industry persons and everybody. So this is how this National Institution Standards of Technology of US Department of Commerce, they have developed what could be the possible architecture of a particular smart grid environment. So in this case, if you see this, it's a very quite convincing figure that the left hand side, if you see, this is the bulk generation station, and next is transmission, and then distribution, and then the customer, right? So this flow, that dotted line, if you could see, my cursors are moving here. So this dotted lines basically shows the power flow. And the solid lines, if you see here, there are so many solid lines moving from one terminal to other terminal, like from bulk generation to market, and then transmission to, for the markets, and then distribution to market, and the customer to market. Then again from bulk generation, transmission, distribution to operations. And of course, the service provider is also there, which links with this operations, customers, and the markets. So this, dark lines or the solid lines are basically the communication flows between different domains. So we call it as domains. So there are 7 domains in a smart grid environment. The first very important domain is the bulk generation, and the second one is the transmission domain, third one is the distribution domain, and fourth one customer, and your fifth one is the market, and sixth operation, and the seventh one is the service provider. Now, so this now the question comes. So the power flow basically is in between the 4 major domains. It is very clear. It is very understood, in fact. So because the electrical infrastructure exists between the generation, transmission, distribution, and customers. So therefore, there is a power flow is meant, and that power flow diagram you can see it is maintained between the generation to the customer end. And in fact, don't think that this power generation is only for the bulk generation to the customer. It may be in bidirectional also. This power generation or the power flow, it may be also from customer to distribution company, or the distribution domain, maybe some, parties are there. They can also transmit the power to the in a reverse direction. And similarly, the power, along with that, as you could sense that a smart grid means it's a bidirectional power flow as well as the bidirectional communication flow or data flow or information flow. So therefore, and there is always information flow or data flow. It is communicated basically between different domains, and therefore this black lines are for that reason. So what I'll do today, I'll just introduce you all the 7 domains quickly. So this is how I just have shown the previous picture. It is a more clear-cut picture of the previous one. And if you have the smart grid, And so you have the 7 essential parts. Like we have a body, we are human being, we have hand, leg, eyes, nose, everything. So similarly, the smart grid, if you consider it is like actually a machine or some platform or technology or some kind of infrastructure, and physically it remains. So it has 7 essential parts or organs. So those 7 organs, we call it as domain, right? So this bulk generation domain, basically, I'll discuss with you in detail. So this is responsible for supply of the power or generation of the power, right? And this transmission carries the bulk of electricity, it carries, and because the transmission name itself says that transmission of the power from one generating station to the other stations. So this distribution is basically, it aims the distributors of the electricity and to and from customers. So therefore I say the distributions companies are very, nowadays in smart grid, basically we basically overlook the transmission structure, right? So we basically focus on the distribution network because our maximum power exchange takes place at the distribution level. The customers can also act like a, there is a presumer. Presumer means the customer can act as a customer, and also the consumer can act as a supplier. So I mean both the dual role can be played by the customer, and that customer can play a great role its own exchange of power or ideas or communication to the distribution network. And the customers, the main authority which basically consumes the last end power, and now the customer has lot many roles in smart grid environment. Okay, and the market and operation service provider, these 3 are the essential organs of the smart grid, which are basically, earlier it was there, but however their operation and their roles are different to cope up the smart grid technology in the existing era. So I'll just come straight forward to the customer domain, which is the last one end, but not the least, because without customer there is no meaning of generation. So as you know, the generation, I mean and I have just discussed in my smart grid course, earlier course also, that when you are just there is a demand of exponential rise, and in every sector, in every domain of the customer, we have the demand of load. Like you have different, I mean, you can write it down if you like, that we have basically the majorly 4 domains of customers. The first one is you have residential loads, and second one is you have agricultural loads, and next you have commercial or building loads, and then you have industrial loads, large scale industries, small scale industries, and of course the 5th dimension which is added now, that is the transportation load. So but earlier this transportation load nobody was bothering, but now with the the data says that the survey, the research says that around 20-30% losses are coming from the IC engines that it runs with the petrol and diesel. So therefore this transportation is one very, and therefore the government of India has also put many effort, like to have you should have some kind of small pilot projects to have your electric vehicle concept, and 11,000 lakhs and maybe more than that of crores of monies government is spending for the pilot projects in every sector. IITs, some industries. So everyone is basically worried for how to get a very cheap electric vehicle, and so that the customers will be benefited. Till date, the cheap, I mean, it's not cheap. That is the only worry. Otherwise, we have to wait how quickly we'll launch those vehicles. So therefore, sorry, this electric, vehicle acts. It will add one major dimension to the smart grid environment, and that comes under the transportation load, right? The electric vehicle acts dual purpose, and that, of course, in this class, this is out of the scope. So this electric vehicle acts like a load as well as a source. So, but at this moment, I can tell you this electric vehicle acts a dynamic load. So therefore, it is one of the 5th domain of the customer domain, 5th dimension of the customer domain. So this domain where the electricity is consumed, and basically here the one more important term I have mentioned, that is the the Energy Services Interface, this one, ESI. So this ESI, what it does, it basically interfaces the utility to the customer. So this, see, everything, every word, every sentence is basically technology. So we are basically moving toward the smart grid era. So what could be our infrastructure, what could be our architecture, what could be our technology, what could be our soft platform, our hardware platform, so that we can conceive the smart grid environment easily. So this ESI acts like a energy service interface, and that helps to interface the customers properly with the electricity utility companies, right? And as you know that the customers actually plays a great role. They're very flexible, and that's what is the smart grid era aims. Like, we should have an environment where the system, the technology should be very flexible in nature, and we can interact with the utility. The customers can interact with the utility, and the utility can also interact with the customer, and that is possible using this energy services interface. So this is basically a module with the soft module and the hard module. It's a kind of module, basically part of your customer domain, and that is going to be placed in between the utility and the customer to exchange anything, any power exchange, or your information exchange, or data exchange, right? So so these are actually the boundaries of, like, customer domain. We basically, based on the power consumption, we basically try to classify it. If the range, energy range is less than or equal to 20 kilowatt, then we call it as a residential type of customer. And if it is 20 to 200 kilowatt, we call it as, it falls in the range of commercial or building customers. And if it is more than 200 kilowatt use, then it falls under the umbrella of industrial customer, right? So this, it may also vary depending on our situation scenario, and every time the IEEE standard may not be constant; it is always revised. It is embedded. The amendment means we also add something new depending on our changes in the curriculum, demand, and your generation pattern, or our demand pattern. The standards also change. It's not fixed, right? So it goes on changing depending on our requirement. So this is how the energy range, and we divide the commercial, industrial, residential customers. And this is how the very clear-cut picture I kept in front of you. A little bit it is clumsy, but still I can simplify it in a very simplified manner. I'll try to explain you so that you will be comfortable in that. Right. So this is how this is the total scenario of this customer domain. And inside this customer domain, as I discussed with all of you, we have the majorly 3 major subdomains. Mostly, more or less, you can say, roughly, you can say. But generally, in general, in a broad sense and in a deep sense, you will see we have 5 subdomains, as I discussed, because we have definitely we have 5 domains of the customers. But here, as I have taken from 2010 US Departments of comments from there. So these things are also going to, very soon it is going to be changed, and it will take some other shape also. Who knows? After 1 more decade, who knows? The architecture will be something different. So this is how the first subdomain, home or residential sector, and here you can see. In smart grid architecture, in the home or residential domain, you could have the renewable sources near to your house. You can see here. This is my rooftop mounted solar, and this is my wind panel. Or sometimes also the new concept is also coming up. This is a hybrid wind and solar energy conversion system, where the wind system can also move with a speed of wind 2 meters per second. So this is amazing technology which is coming up. Like that wind turbine, a small wind turbine, you can always connect at the rooftop of our house or building and residential sectors. And there it can be also combined with a small solar panel, and those hybrid energy system also can help us to supply the energy and store the energy in the battery. And rest of the energy you can also supply to the nearby customers. So this is how the energy scenario, and here you have the meter which will basically monitor smart meters. Basically these are the smart meters, and this smart meter will monitor whatever the energy I have consumed, and what is my voltage frequency status and my power factor, whatever, anything QP, my load consumption per day, per hour, per minute, whatever, every information you can gather by customizing this smart meter configurations inside, which is present in the controller. Now this is how this we have a home gateway, and this home gateway is I was talking about to all of you before just 2-3 minutes. This ESI, the energy system interface, this one I said, this energy services interface. So this ESI is a very important part, which basically helps to interact with the rest of the utilities. So this is how it is located here, this home gateway. It is nothing, this ESI, there's an interface. Now I have, of course, in the home area, I have some appliances and some automation is there. And what is the meaning of this automation? Let me take you a very different domain to ideas. Automation means now in smart grid, nothing is man operated. It's completely automatic in nature. So when my washing machine is going to be switched on, when is my lights are going to be switched on, and when my essential priority loads are going to be switched on, I have scheduled it. And that scheduling is nothing the demand side operation or demand side power management concept. So those load switching on off inside a home or residential area is basically controlled by this automation technology. And this automation technology also helps in minimizing, there is a concept which is coming up nowadays, the green building, energy efficient building. So that means what could be my possible ways out to place all my or run my efficiently my equipment in my household, so that I can save some energy for other person, right? If I can save, then only others will use. If you waste your energy, then other people may not be able to use it properly. So this is how this automation takes place, and this is one of the very important sector, because most of the residential sectors are basically in urban cities. To some extent we are literate and we know how to utilize efficiently the energy, but however in semi-urban and remote areas, a very lot of energy wastage, and even then the energy they don't know how to use properly. Now we have also here the electric vehicle scenario. The electric vehicle connects to every section. Like this electric vehicle is a load concept consumer domain. As I said, it will come in the source domain also, but presently in the this smart grid era, this lies in the customer domain. As I said, that this is our 5th dimension we have added here. So this electric vehicle also can penetrate to our home area network, and that is known as electric vehicle residential area charging stations. So in the residential areas, we should have some solar powered charging stations, from where my electric vehicle can be charged in the morning 6 to 9, and when I start my journey to my location destination of my office, so that should be again parked over there and can act like a source that time. So that concept is known as V2G, G2V concept. So this next domain, subdomain in customer domain is the industrial domain. Here you can see the same concept. I will not repeat it again, because we have to talk more in other domains also. I have to spend time there also. So this industrial domain, the same concept, like you have the cogeneration, wind generation, and this automation is, of course, it is there. The meter is there for metering purpose and some metering processes. And of course, we have industrial gateway. This industrial gateway, home gateway, they basically interact with the utilities. The data can flow, the power can be exchanged, data can be exchanged. That is what the function of this gateway. Now we have this building a commercial domain, subdomain, and again here we have solar powered sub-commercial complexes, and automation system is also there. And of course, we have some meters and the building gateway. Okay, so this is how this particular customer-based domain works in rough, or you can say kind of a just tentative ideas we are getting what could be the possible domains inside a customer domain happens to be in a smart grid environment. Now, of course, we should not forget the major other four domains I have just noted here. By bidirectional blue arrow mark, here the service provider and the operators and the distribution companies and market. So these four are very, very important essential organs which always interact with my customer domain. So this customer, you can see inside in this particular picture, you can see there is a yellow color dotted line. So this yellow color dotted line and there's a blue color dark line. So this yellow color dotted line is the power flow line. So this power flow to the customer domain only happens from the distribution company, and not from operational domain, not from service domain, or not from market domain. So similarly, here you can see this is my power flow. So from this home area network to the meter, and then it goes to the appliances. Similarly, from here in the cogeneration in the industrial domain, it goes to my automation section, metering section, then some metering section. Similarly, in this building also. So what I'm trying to say here, that this blue line shows the data flow, information flow, and this dotted line shows the power flow. So this customer domain is very potential domain because there actually the money is invested. So the service and market, they are very active, you can say, for joining this customer domain. Every time interaction goes on. One of my BTech, those people, I am trying to motivate these people that you are preparing this artificial intelligence techniques or something for the banking purpose, how the banking nets and all, they can be coded and they can operate. Similarly, we can also always make some codes using artificial intelligence, some very intelligent codes for this operation, exchanging the ideas between the service and markets, operations and distribution companies, so that it will act as a full-phased smart grid environment. So now this is how the customer domain ESI already, you know, this is the primary service interface to the customer domain. And this is second word I just want to tell all of you. This AMI is the advanced metering infrastructure. This ESI, the ESI helps in this ESI via, so I mean with the help of this advanced metering infrastructure, it interacts with other domains. That is what I'm trying to say. EMI is always there. EMI is a gateway. And through that EMI gateway, what will happen? It will try to interact with other domains through another via or media that is known as advanced metering infrastructure. So what kind of sensors and all the metering infrastructures I will develop inside this smart grid environment so that I can always interact with my other domains as far as the power is concerned, as far as the communication data flow is concerned. So that will be handled through this ESI and AMI. So these two are the essential parts of the customer domain. And of course, the communication infrastructure, I'm not going into detail. That is a separate chapter or separate domain of my smart grid course. I usually taught in the class also sometimes to the students and some engineers. And so this home area network, local area network basically helps in with the other devices which are present in the customer premises. So this is how the customer domain works, okay? And this one is your home or building area automation and controls functions within a building. And it includes like micro generation it has also. It includes all types of distributed generation like wind and solar. As I said, you may also have some cogeneration system. And we may also have some thermal, this is what is the bio-based generation system inside the customer domain. And industrial automation, of course, it is there. So controls the industry processes and manufacturing or warehousing effects. So coming to our second domain. The first one I discussed with all of you, that is the market domain. And the second one, customer domain. And the second one is the market domain. So in this market domain, see the market, what it indicates. It is basically linked with my price. It is linked with my scheduling of my power. It is linked with my maintaining the assets. The assets may be soft asset, it may be a hard asset. Maintaining my ancillary services. So many aspects where the money is concerned, the market domain plays a great role. So you may ask me question that earlier the market domain, it was not there. Yes, it was there. Always a market is there. Without market, we cannot purchase or sell, nothing we can do. But now that was not that much of proactive, that was not that much of flexible, and that was not that much of like, dynamic in nature. So therefore now to make it more flexible, more dynamic, so to make it more user friendly, so therefore this market domain is revised time to time. It is modified time to time. So this market domain has many challenges and many features also. So this market domain, basically control happens where the domain supplying assets. Like this market domain is responsible for generation, transmission, customer. So every kind of operation you do, the market comes to the picture. Suppose I want to purchase one generator for my generating station from WEL, Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited. So from there, I have to go through the marketplace. What is the market price? So I have to place the order. So therefore, the market domain plays the role everywhere where the cost is linked. But remember, there is no power flow information in the market domain with any other domains. So that is only the exchange of your, cost association, that what is the cost of this asset, what if I give this service, what will the cost associated with it, what will be my policies for this, if I am going to bid, if I am going to supply this amount of solar energy to this amount of customers, what could be my benefit, what could be my prices. So those kind of policies actually are available in the market. But earlier, if you could remember, due to this deregulation process, actually it's a great addition to our smart grid environment, that now there is not a single party of player. There are so many party players and electricity party players, so they are going to sell and exchange the power in the market. So you cannot say that we have only one, like we have Airtel, we have BSNL, we have Jio. So wherever the customers they are interested, they can take that kind of SIM. So similarly, is a very small example. You have many different types of sets of mobile, sets of laptops. So similarly, in this now, the time will come. The next 10 years, you can see very quickly that there will be choice for the customers. They can take the power from any customer. The utilities they like. So that is only possible through this market domain information. So this is the market domain joins the chain between the utilities and the customers via other sectors, like you have operation, you have maintenance, other sectors. So in this sense, what is the high priority challenges for this market domain? That we'll see very quickly. I'll just tell to all of you. The first one is the first challenges in this domain. What are the challenges? As I said, you may ask me that previously the market domain it was there, but there is not that much. There is no challenge for them because there is a centrally located generating stations and very far away the customers are located, and just you pass the energy and to the customers, and the customers will receive the power. But now the scenario is different. I'm just going to integrate some solar to near my home, or some buildings, commercial buildings, they are going to tap the energy from the solar panels, rooftop mounted solar and wind panels. So how it will work? What could be my possible rates? What could be my ways out if I just want to tap energy from the the sources and this much from the renewables? What could be my price? What could be my intensives? Some kind of decisions. So this actions in price and the DER signals to the each customer subdomains. So that means this market decides what could be the price, the DER signals to each customer subdomain. I should repeat again. So the customer subdomains means you have the industrial customers, you have commercial customers, you have agricultural, and we have this building customers. The residential customers. So this pricing fixing, the price is fixed basically for this customer subdomains from market domain only. So everything will be decided from there. And expanding the capabilities of aggregators. So let me tell you what is the meaning of aggregators. The aggregators basically they try to to compile. So you have like small companies. which are coming up to participate in the market. So those small companies, they should be controlled by some domain or some authority, and those authorities basically known as aggregators. So you can suppose you have company number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in local areas. So they are going to be assessed, they are going to be monitored, they are going to be operated by some authority. That authority is nothing, aggregators. So this expanding the capabilities of aggregators, aggregators should be given some, kind of power, or there are some chances, or they should work out on the small companies or customers. That is what is also, again, it falls under this role falls under the market domain. So interoperability is what we should be familiar, because as we are running in the smart grid era, so we should know what is interoperability. So today also you can see whatever I'm just talking in my home, whatever the power generation or some consumption is happening in my home, and that should be reflected in some other controlling center, local controlling center or central controlling center of the smart grid. So that is known as interoperability. If one device is speaking to other device, one center is speaking to other center, one generating station is speaking to other generating station, or one load is speaking to other load, that is known as interoperability. In between every loads, every generators or customers or utilities, they are just exchanging their information, or they are accessible to each other. That is known as interoperability. Okay, and this is known as a handshaking mode of operation in smart grid across all the providers, customers, and market information. And that is again falls in this market domain. Market domain will see how the things will be fixed between different domains. So we are evolving this communication mechanism for prices, energy characteristics between and throughout the market customers. So what is the mostly why just I kept market domain after the customer, because after the customer after getting the energies, the first question will be, what will be my price? So to make it the price in a reasonable rate, okay, so that depends on these challenges. If my challenges are proper, and then I can set a particular value or figure for the suitable figure for the customer, and where the things will be sold. So therefore the market domain makes things easier for the customer. So customer and market domain, they are very close to each other. So this is how this market domain components, like you have here you can see this market domain has around 7 sub domains. Just like our customer domain, we have like 3 to 4 subdomains. Similarly, the market domain has its own subdomains. Otherwise, how the market domain will work? Inside the market domain, what are the subcomponents which makes the market domain successful? So the first one is the market operation. So there are certain rules I have not noted down here. So what are the rules comes under this market domain? Otherwise, it will take very long time. So this market domain, how the market will operate, that is written over here, the rules and regulations. And of course, every market has its own management center. Every operational structure should be managed. That is market management system. And then, of course, I said before 2-3 minutes, DER aggregations. How to aggregate all the DER means distributed energy resources. Mostly, as I said, in the smart grid measure, our target is to enhance or exchange or extract energy, exploit energy from the renewable sources. And those renewable sources are storage devices or electric vehicles are our major targets now. So those are basically known as DER, means distributed energy resources. So to aggregate it, to combine them properly in a very smoother manner, in a very harmony, we have to, their operation should be in a very harmony, and their power distribution should be very smooth. So in that case, with the exchange of cost and rate could be something very smooth and eye-catchy for the customer, and that could be done by the DER aggregations. And next is the wholesaling, that I should not tell, all of you know it. What is this wholesaling term? Trading. And of course, the retailing. And retailing, trading, wholesaling, they are very good features of the market. I should not explain it. This ancillary operation is an important component which is added in the market domain very recently. So this ancillary service is nothing, let me tell you. If some generators are giving some frequency or voltage support in AC grid, I'm talking about now AC microgrids or AC smart grids. I'm not talking about the DC smart grid or DC grids, because today's date also the DC microgrid is not, even though it's a research area, and many researchers, they're dreaming to make or convert our AC microgrid in DC microgrid, but still this is a very good phase of, nascent stage, you can say. Less technology standards availability, and research is also not so much fast. It is going on, moving on, but not solidified. But as the AC infrastructure was earlier, it was existing. So we are embedding, we are just adding some extra technology to make the existing AC grid as AC microgrid. Okay, so with this existing AC platform, we are adding some more, technical information, smart information to make it smart grid. That is what is the thing, nothing else. We should not be confused. What is the smart grid? Smart grid is something else, or a smart grid architecture is something else. It is embedment. We are adding something extra to the existing platform, AC platform, so that it will be smarter in nature. And we can use, of course, we land always with the 4 watts. The technique should be so much strong and it should be so much smooth in nature. And so our network finally should be very reliable, efficient, sustainable, and economical in nature. These 4 watts are our target. So whatever you do, but if these 4 watts are not fulfilled, then I cannot call it as a smart network. Or whatever domain you may make it smarter, if it doesn't fulfill these 4 watts, I cannot call it as a smart domain. So this market domain is also smart enough, and this ancillary service, as I said, if one of my generating station or renewable sources parties, they are interested to supply the frequency and voltage variation somewhere it happens, so frequency support or voltage support services, then those services can also be encouraged by this domain, market domain. So apart from this, you can see here these yellow lines are missing completely, this yellow dotted line. However, you have this blue lines and the double-headed arrow, isn't it? So this third line, electrical flows, are missing over here. So this blue lines are basically the internal communication flows, because in between every 7 sections are interconnected with each other. And honestly speaking, this market domain is a very big domain for the service, the software engineers as well as electrical engineers, communication engineers. Everybody's target is to have some good technology so that the smart grid technology can be in a better form. But it is growing. I said it is not a matured state. It is growing stage, in the baby stage, you can say. So this market domain also has its other organs which interact with this operation domain, distribution, bulk generation, service provider, transmission, customer. So that means you will be astonished and also you will be happy at the same time. A market domain is the only domain which interact with all the other 6 domains. From the beginning of my lecture, I said there are 7 domains in the smart grid architecture. So this market domain is one which interacts with the rest of the 6 domains of my smart grid. So this is how this market domain, every individual I have wrote here. What is the role of this market management? What is the role of ancillary operation? What is the role of this market operation, trading, DR, retailing? I have just tried to put in a short form. There are so many other analysis are containing over this particular topic, but however, I just put some of it. Like retailing means sell power to end customers, DR aggregations means aggregators combine smaller participants, and trading means the participants in market and buying and selling of the energy. This market operation make particular markets function smoothly. Already I have told to all of you. And ancillary service means provides frequency support, voltage support, spinning reserve. Okay. And this market management is nothing ISO, that is the independent system operators of the distribution companies and for wholesale markets. So that means the market plays a very important role for buying and selling all the assets of my rest of the 6 domains: generator domain, transmission domain, distribution domain, service domain, customer domain. So every domain, they are basically distribution domain, so customer domains, all are dependent on the market domain. Now, the third one is my service provider domain. What it does, the service provider domain, it performs the support, the business process of power system producers like distributors, customers. So tell me one thing. So the word itself, the service means what? We are providing certain service to the customers or to the generators or to the other domains or the market, wherever you like. So the service domain is a new addition to the existing platform. So the service provider domain acts like for maintenance kind of not service. It's a service provider in the sense power supply as well as communication supply as well as any other needs of the other domains. So this performs the support the business process of the power system producers of the distributors and customers. Okay, so this service provider, the main challenge for this is today's date, as also we are looking for also to develop the key interfaces and standards. So the standards I said even in the AC microgrid, AC smart grids also, the standards are very lacking in nature, and that will enable to a dynamic market driven ecosystem. So unless until we have very good service mechanism, a very good market strategy, then we could have a very dynamic market driven ecosystem or a dynamic or flexible market domain or dynamic smart grids environment where the customer and utilities can play very nicely, smoothly. And this service provider helps to some extent along with our market domain that how the service or the power flow, information flow, and every information, every activities of service should be in smooth manner. So this is how the service provider domain parts. There are essentially 7 assets like billing section, customer management, account management, emerging services, home management, building management, installation, and maintenance. So you can see here again there is no yellow dotted flow. That means there is no power flow. So in this market domain and service domain, there is no power flow. You could understand why this power flow is not existing. Here, essentially, the information flow is there, that without any doubt. So what is this service? As I said, in a very short form, I just want to tell you, mostly service is needed by what? The service is needed by my customer. The customer needs the service. Suppose I am supplying, I'm some utility, so I am supplying power to some customers. The customers need some service from my side. So what kind of like service? Suppose for a very small example, I'll give to all of you. Let's say we have decided to install the smart meters in every home premises. So I have to, the customer domain personnel, they have to reach to the customer end and they have to install the smart meters. That is why this is one of the organ installation and maintenance part. So I have to move over there and I have to install over there and check it whether it is working fine or not. It is signaling properly to the control centers or not. So this is how. And next is every customers, like you have a residential customer, you have a home building customer, you have a industrial customer. So in this aspect, mostly, this customers, the customer, I'm not meaning that very large scale customer, I'm not denying that. But nowadays, we are aiming a small scale generation and small scale, utilization. So that concept is known as microgrid. So this microgrid makes some sense. The distribution network capacity and its voltage level, power handling level defines what could be the size of this home management, building management structure, and why not? Very big industries. Yes, of course, it is under it also, but sorry. So this home and building, why I have written here for your kind information. It is, I am talking about the customers very near to my 400 volt or 11 kV level. And if you talk about the large scale industries, like you have in the range of 132 kV, 66 kV penetrated lines. So there also this smart grid concept comes. But honestly speaking, the smart grid existence now very populately, I mean, it is going on in the distribution level at the lower voltage level. So why? Because the reason being, we are trying to have a small package of power generation and a small package of power acceptance. So if that could be possible, so my aim will be fulfilled, and our aim will be fulfilled, and we will be very successful trader and successful smart grid network. But if again then suppose I'm just you may ask me question that is it not possible to generate the solar and wind parks at the range of 66 kV level? Is it possible or not? Yes, it is possible, but there will be bulk power generation for that to meet those loads. As you know, in the microgrid, it's a cornerstone of the smart grid, and it demands maximum range of power, and it goes to power generation up to 50 megawatt. And in a mini grid system, it goes up to 15 megawatt, and in a nano grid system, it goes up to more or less 15 kilowatt. So that is what is always the target. So once I was listening one very expert lecture that they said that do you think that the transmission networks are not smart enough? Yes, it is smart enough, but we are making this distribution network smarter because our aim will be more fulfilled if I make my distribution network more smarter, and our maximum problems can be solved, and we'll definitely have a smart grid era and efficient energy management system and energy environment. So therefore, the target is mostly the low-level distribution networks. So therefore, I wrote here, it is written in this article also, the home management, building management concept. So there, the customers are going to basically, along with this service provider, you have management system and you have emerging services. Suddenly, you know, in IIT Roorkee, we are sitting here, I got some problem with my AC, or I got some problem with my telephone and some other loads devices. So quickly I'll call to the customer care and please come and do the service. So this emerging services are also provided by the service provider domain. Account management, what is the energy you have consumed? That will be also accountable here. And customer management, how many customers are getting supply from one particular utility, how many are getting supply, and how many are getting giving their charge properly. So every interaction and billing also. I think this has been taken up by TCS and IBM very soon, one big project software based, that this total function will be done by one single platform, single software. When you open the computer in one control center, they can see, they can visualize what is happening in a particular home or area or some customer premises. So this is going to be implemented very soon. But unless until we install some intelligent devices at the customer premises or load areas, then only they will communicate to the control center, and then the control center will see every action. So therefore, what I'm trying to say, unless until at my home, I am not communicating any signal to any customers nearby distribution company or nearby substation. So how can the customers or local controller or local central operators, they will know what is happening there. So these are all in, moving states, developing states. So hopefully that we will be in that era quickly, right? So along with this service provider domain, we have also other three domains: market domain, customer domain, and operation domain. So billing, of course, it is there. It comes under the service provider domain. So this operation and market and customer are linked with the service provider domain. Now, this is how in short I wrote here, what is the management services, like all of the services of innovations of future smart operation can be achieved by this emerging services also. Not only the attending the emergent service, along with that in future, what could be our projected installation of smart devices or some changes in supply, those kind of services also comes from under the umbrella of emerging services. And account management means managing the supply and customer business accounts. That is also falls under service provider domain. And installation, installing and maintaining the premises equipment, that also comes under service provider domain. Building management, monitoring, controlling the building energy. Home management, as I said, you will be under your, all your loads are going to be under that doesn't mean that we will be looking, the operator will, and the central controller or operator will be monitoring what is happening inside your home. No, it is not like that. It is that that home or residential terminal acts like a load, and from that terminal, from where the energy is entering inside our home, that that gateway will basically inform how much energy is consumed in this particular area or building, and that energy, voltage, frequency, everything will be that control center. That is what is the monitoring or controlling the building aspect. So this is how the things goes. The fourth one is the operation domain. In this operation domain, we have, like I just want to say, this operation domain is the biggest domain in this smart grid infrastructure. Okay, let me tell you, in operation domain, it is a little bit, I'll take some time for this. So we have to see very carefully what are the operation we actually do. As the name suggests, this domain is responsible for all kind of operation which are happening inside the smart grid. So first of all, I'll start from here. The first one is the maintenance and construction, financial, supply chain, logistics, records, assets, security management, communication network, meter reading control, extension planning, and this operations planning is different, and that is, I'll explain in the next slide. So this apart from this, one more, this is the one domain, operation domain, and these are some of the subdomains what I read in front of you: maintenance, construction, this, that. But apart from that, network operation is very important, which is actually our technical electrical engineering terms. This network, which is established, like, you know, the transmission, distribution, customers, the network, the electrical structure. So those operations are also comes under this operation domain. So this network operation is again subdomain, right? This is actually one subdomain. I mean, every individual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, here also you have some other domains like meter reading, communication, security management. So this, along with this, again you have subdomains. The network operation is one subdomain of the operation domain, and along with this, under this network operation, we have other subdomains. What is that? The first one is the fault analysis, monitor, control, load control, reporting, statistics analysis. So let me tell one thing. Let me tell to all of you one thing. When you talk about the network operation, suddenly to my mind it comes 3 or 4 words. The first word is monitoring word. Second one is the controlling word, and operation word, operation, then protection, then control. The 4 words. All of you can write. So whenever any network comes to picture, whatever it may be, is a smart network, a microgrid network, a general normal network, anything. The first one is we have to monitor. The monitoring should be very, very strong. And the second one is its operation, how it operates. What are the operations we are doing for this? Real-time operation, offline operation, online operation, every kind of operation. Operation doesn't mean that it is an online operation. Operation also means offline operation. Offline means we do something, some offline service provide to the network inside the control centers. So then we have also the third domain is the protection. So when any fault, any disturbance is going to be there, so the operation, network operation should be ready to take care of it. So that domain falls under, the protection part also falls under it. That is what is fault analysis part. And the last one is the control. The control is must. So once I monitored, I operated, and I protected. So even then, some issues comes to picture, that should be controlled. So this is what is load control. Okay, this is the control, switching control, load control, generator control, line control. So everywhere we should have some local controller. So remember, one thing I just want to tell to all of you, that in smart grid, as I said, nothing is manual. Everything is automatic. Otherwise, this discussion has no meaning. So everything should be automatic in manner. So this any fault, I'll give you a small example. Suppose I have a two-ended source. At one end I have a substation, other end I have a solar energy based residential. So in between one feeder is joining, and in between also some loads are present. So there some fault has been incepted in that particular feeder. So what will happen? That feeder is going to be disconnected, isn't it? So the feeder is going to be disconnected. So who will take care of it? And that fault analysis part and the programming part, that controlling part, everything comes under this operation domain. And make it ensure that service should be resumed. Like even then that feeder is out of service due to some fault, and then again that service should be resumed. And that also comes under this service domain and the operation domain. So this operation, that detecting the fault and detaching the line or opening the line, the circuit breaker or switches, that comes under the operation domain. Okay, so this operation domain, indirectly what I'm trying to say, that whatever the operation we are maintaining, suppose one more example, at certain line or terminal, I have some switching capacitors. The capacitors which are basically nowadays, let me tell you, the capacitors are basically becoming more flexible in nature. It is not a fixed capacitor, it's a dynamic capacitor. What is the meaning of dynamic capacitor? The capacitor banks, basically when the capacitors are placed in parallel with the terminal of the load, it boosts the voltage level at the terminal of the load. So when the capacitors are actually switched on once, so I cannot do anything because those are static capacitors, and those capacitors actually switched on through a static switch, which cannot, it's not programmable. It's not flexible in nature. It is not electronic devices. So I can control something. I can open and close according to my desire. But in smart grid environment, what we are doing, even though I have the capacitor bank, and along with this capacitor bank in series, I'll keep one switch through the IGBTs or some electronic switch, soft switch. We call it as a soft switch. Okay, a soft transfer switch. So this soft transfer means it can transfer from on mode to off mode. So that along this parallel, in series with this capacitor, if I keep a switch and I'll just give you a signal to the gate drive circuit of the IGBT, you will switch on this time, you will switch off on this time. So what will happen? This number of capacitor banks are going to be connected in parallel, and my voltage profile will be controlled accordingly. This is for a very glimpse. I'm just telling a very small example how to control the voltage profile quickly by switching on the capacitor banks automatically. So these operations, who is going to do? There is nobody will run and okay, at this substation number 10, my voltage level is deep. So I saw the operator saw in the this cabin, the operator, the control center, okay, the voltage is going down. So let us run over there, take some car, take some trolley and go there and switch on the banks of the capacitor. Then there is no meaning of this smart grid concept then. So therefore, what I'm trying to inform, that what I'm trying to visualize, and also conceptually I want to deliver that everything, devices, even a circuit breaker also, why not? Even if not, why not a the capacitor bank, even why not a DC terminal, why not a lines? Every element should be smart. Then how the element will be smart? How a line will be smart, how the capacitor is going to be smart. If I'll connect a smart switch over there, if I connect the IDs along in series with this capacitor, these IDs are going to send signals every time to my control center. This is a voltage terminal of the capacitor. There is a current drawn by the capacitor, supplied by the capacitor, like this. So this is how the glimpse of this, this domain operation. And just a very small example I kept in front of you. This operation should be done by the operation domain. So this here, even in operation domain, you can see there is this electrical flow is absent because we are just controlling all the this is the internal communication flow, and this is how the external flow occurs in the operation domain, the market and the service, because the market is linked with the operation, because how the network is operating, that decides my market price and what kind of things are happening, financial bid or maintenance, and my extension planning. Suppose I'll tell you one more here, very important issue here, extension planning. Suppose I just next day after 10 days, 5 years, we are going to modify my existing distribution layer. I have to extend it. I have to add more digits. I have to some certain critical points. I have to place some storage devices. I have to add some loads over here. So then, like some 2 more malls are going to be installed in Roorkee, near to Roorkee areas. So that comes under that discourse, distribution companies, and they will look after this. Just like that, without any notice, you cannot come and install your buildings. Just stand your buildings. So those ideas comes under the extension planning authority part of my operation domain. See, these are actually a futuristic thought process, and very soon they are going to be implemented, I'm sure. So this is this operation domain. Of course, it interact with the distribution company, customer service, and the market. So come here. So this is how the every elements I have just kept nicely. That what are the each component helps and how it helps. The first one is the monitoring part. Let me tell you, in the distribution layer, one new device is coming off. That is a micro PMU. All of you can just check it, this word, as I could not, due to the time constraint, I have not kept those devices pictures over here or description. So this micro PMU helps in monitoring the distribution network, because you may ask me, maybe some people they are aware about this PMU concept. The PMU word itself stands for phasor measurement unit. This phasor measurement unit, when it comes in the small scale range, is known as micro PMU. Just for microgrid, we have a device, micro PMU. So this PMU are basically installed in India. Also, it is installed. Basically, these are installed at the transmission level. But now, the problem with the present PMU scenario is those are dedicated for monitoring of this transmission level, because there the precision accuracy level or error is very high. The accuracy is not good and the error level is quite high. But at the same time, the distribution lines or angles between the two buses are very low, and the precision level should be very, very high. It should be very accurate. So, and at the same time, the reporting, the sampling rate in case of micro PMU is quite high in comparison to the PMU, and we need very quick action. See, distribution lines are more prone to all kind of disturbances. Transmission lines are also prone, I am not denying, because we have bare lines, the fault chances are more, disturbances are also more, but more complex is your distribution line, because many loads are interconnected, many lines are interconnected. Again, we are adding more storage and more renewable sources. Again, our distribution lines are going to be more complex. So therefore, this micro PMU will help taking the snapshot of the whole distribution smart network or microgrid network. So this supervising network connectivity and this micro PMU helps in giving you a snapshot of your health condition. Like our body, we check it, we monitor. So similarly, the health of the distribution network will be monitored by platform known as micro PMU. And micro PMU is basically a monitoring platform, monitoring device. It is not a decision-making device, remember, or it cannot even detect your fault. But suddenly there is some, let us say it is monitoring. It's a monitoring platform. Inside your operator room, one big screen is displayed. You can see in other operator stations, and in US also they have that facility. Every operator load centers, they have big screens. What is status of this line? What is status of this breaker? What is status of this renewable source agency? What is every information they can see at time to time. So this earlier it was a SCADA system, supervisory control data acquisition system. But that was in the data flow was in the transfer rate, decision was in the millisecond range. But now this micro PMU range will come to microsecond range, and the sampling of data rate is quite high. And so there are so many benefits where in the transmission distribution network, where the transient is very prominently you can catch using this platform. Okay, So this monitoring of the network is very important, and that is quite possible using one device known as micro-PMU. And one more information I just want to add to all of you. In US, there is a university, I forgot that, you can check it, FNet software, FNet. F means or iGrid. They call it, the software is iGrid. Means the grid has as if an eye. The grid is observing where is happening what. And that software they have developed globally. They made it public. Just you switch on iGrid software, you can see in the Google. And you can see New Jersey, New York, and different places. What is the frequency, voltage information? Mostly it measures the frequency of that particular location. It's a very quite interesting platform. So this is how a monitoring platform helps in supervising the voltage profile, frequency profile at every load or generator terminal. Okay, that is very essential. Then the operator will take some preventive decision. Some preventive decision can be taken beforehand. If suppose somewhere the line is collapsing and some voltage is collapsing, let us have some signal quickly. The banks will be, capacitor banks are going to be on. Some sort of dynamic DVRs, they are going to be on. So to take care of this voltage collapse. So monitoring helps in many aspects. Once we monitor, then only know where is the flaws in the network, and then further actions will be taken. And next, and one more device also we are using, FDR, frequency fault disturbance recorder. Wherever we have some disturbance, the FDR will report to the control centers that this is the problem which is happening. So accordingly, the operator will switch on button, switch on off, or some action will be taken further. So this is how this monitoring helps, and control we have, of course, via supervised wide area. We call it as, with the micro-PMU, we have PDC, that is the phasor data concentrator, and from the PDC, it goes to different control centers, operators. So it is known as supervised wide area, local, automatic, or manual control centers. And we have, of course, fault management, fault identification, estimation, and service restoration. This is a very important wing of this operation domain. See what I said, as I said from the starting of this domain, this operation domain is the biggest domain of the smart grid. Others are important, I am not denying, but it links with the operation straightforward, real-time operation. Anything is happening is there means your power will be interrupted. Let us say my service is, let us say my price is 1 rupees high or low, doesn't matter. But if my if due to some fault one line is off and nobody is going to take care of it, so obviously that line, that area will be under load shedding. I mean, it is a power cut scenario, blackout, brownout scenario. So that means operation is important because it maintains the real electrical power flow. So that it is not the cash flow or money flow or communication flow, it is the real electrical power flow. So this operation handles the electrical power flow. And therefore, this domain is actually our research area. Honestly speaking, I am not working in the area of market domain. Of course, you will be, maybe some electrical people, they will be agreed. We may be an expert to the management, account or some market people, but our domain of research is this one. Okay, how the smart grid can operate in a better way, in a smooth way, with help of other domains. So this fault identification is important. If any fault is incepted, and elimination, we have to eliminate it as quick as possible to save our other elements. And we have service restoration, because when some section is let us say faulty and we have disconnected from my network, it should be connected back. Okay, so some analysis, it is always there, data analysis is there. What happened, and the last blackout had happened in July 2012 in India, 31st. So all the data we have collected, the government of India said the task force, you just check it, what happened where. So we collected the data, the stored data in every PMU section, relay section, all the substations, they analyzed where, what happened. where is the fault, why this disturbance has been originated, and why it has propagated. This analysis is only possible if we have a very good data storing system and the digital platform. So, and reporting, statistics, calculations and all, training. Then yes, this maintenance and construction comes under extension planning, already I have discussed. Customer support, and it helps the customer to troubleshooting the power, and of course this is what is the service provider part also, and the operation domain also. So this is the second last. So bulk generation domain. We have here, somebody may ask me, the word bulk means doesn't mean that we have only NTPC and large hydropower plants. No, it is not like that. Here, it under this bulk power generation, you have the renewables and also storage. So together it comes, I mean all together. So this bulk power generation means it is connected here. It is like this. I can show you here in a better way. This bulk generation includes mostly 3 subdomains. The first one is the renewable, which is variable nature, and we have a renewable, which is non-variable nature, and we have of course non-renewable sources, and which are obviously non-variable nature. See, okay. Now this renewable, which is variable nature, which are the solar and wind, isn't it? The solar is very intermittent in nature, wind also very intermittent in nature. So these two, wind and solar, are very much variable in nature. And renewable, these are also variable. These are renewable sources, but they are non-variable nature. I know the sources are fixed. The input, I know my hydros, a small hydro power plants. This is my height of water. I know how much energy I can generate. Biomass. This is my bioproducts. I can generate this much of energy. So these are some of the non-variable renewable sources, and this is my non-renewable sources: nuclear, gas, coal. And along with this, we have also storage, pump storage like here. Okay, storage. So this completely in the generation domain, the electrical yellow dotted line exists. Why? Because this is actually the electrical power generating station. It generates the power. From everywhere, this yellow lines meets to the transmission domain. But you may ask me that here the pictures will be more clear later. I mean later research. From this renewable sources also, the pictures will also come to the distribution domain. Not necessarily. See, we are actually bypassing the transmission network. We are making the distribution line or discourse near to this generating station and the customers then. Okay. Next is market, and it linked with the market and operation. Right. This is how the bulk generation subcomponents here. Here I have shown here: controls, measures, protect, and record. So this is how the assess, management, recording, protect, and then measure and control. So now the transmission and distribution domain, the last 2 domains, 5 domains I have explained. And transmission, basically it takes the power from the bulk generating station to the distribution domain. Where is, I mean, all of you know it, no need to explain more. But in this transmission domain, 3 major things comes. One is the substation and the storage. The major substations are basically, they are located in the transmission domain. They falls under the transmission domain. And of course, the storage also that we have in the near to the substation. So that's the storage devices are basically populated near to the transmission domain. And here the same thing happens: control, measure, record, and optimize. Right. The last one is the distribution domain. So this distribution domain is a very vital domain, which is just near to your customer domain. This distribution domain plays a great role. It's a medium between the transmission or bulk generation to the customer. So distribution domain is much more pretty, I mean, competent, or you can say prominent sector of our transmission or smart grid environment in today's date in comparison to your transmission domains. So distribution domain plays a great role, and here you can see the yellow dotted lines are basically from the transmission. It comes, the generation come to transmission and transmission to the customer. Here, the customer domain. So these are some of the parts like substation we have in the transmission distribution domain, also distribution substations. And we have also distributed generation present in the distribution domain. And also we have capacitor banks, which will basically support the voltage level. And we have reclosers relays, which will protect my distribution network, control measures and recording and optimization. And of course, the distribution network interacts with my market and operation. Okay. So thank you so much. As I said to ma'am, I'll just stop here. Any questions? So I'll be very happy to answer all your questions. Yeah, ma'am, over to you, ma'am. Am I audible? Hello? Ma'am, am I audible? Yeah, so Usha ma'am, I have finished. So participants, any questions, please? You are most welcome. Yeah, please ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
I'd like to thank Dr. Premlata ma'am, IIT Roorkee, for your very informative and really enlightened with the topic of architecture of smart grid, with the knowledge sharing. Once again, thank you very much, ma'am, for your time you have spent with us for our STTP 2 and 3. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Any questions from the participants?
One second, ma'am. Dear participants, kindly post the questions in the chat box.
Yeah. So one question I got, can you please tell about PMUs, ma'am? Yes, very good question. This PMUs, basically the PMU stands for Phasor Measurement Unit. So let me tell you, the PMU has 5 sections. The first entry, suppose we have a transmission line or distribution line, and the transmission distribution line we have installed the CTPTs, and from the CTPTs the voltage and current signals will be given to the PMUs, and inside the PMUs we have the low pass filters, and that low pass filter will transfer, it will just track the fundamental signal, and then it will pass to your ADC, that is analog to digital converter. And inside, after this analog to digital conversion, the digitalized signal will go to your processor, microprocessor. And remember, nowadays the PMU has no microprocessor. It is replaced by basically a FPGA-based processor, or it may be the DSP-based processor, which has a very high speed. FPGA-based processor is having high speed. We want to see, actually, honestly speaking, earlier we have a SCADA system, first supervising all the data and controlling all the elements through the RTU, the remote terminal unit. But nowadays we are installing the IEDs. The IEDs, you can write it. IEDs means intelligent information device. This intelligent information device will basically, those devices are going to be installed at every load terminal, every generating station terminal. So those IDs will transfer the information to our local center. So what the PMU does, the PMU are installed at the buses near to my generating stations, or sometimes also my substations, like near to the terminal of the renewable sources like solar or wind, okay, or the battery storage system or substation basically. Or maybe it is also located to my main grid. As I said, the smart grid is nothing, it is embedment and the additional part of my storage renewables to the existing grid. So this PMUs or micro PMUs are going to be installed at the bus where my sources or loads are present to monitor status of the voltage and frequency at that terminal. So when this ADC, the analog signal from the CTPT goes to my ADC of my PMU, then inside the PMU, we have the processor. It may be FPGA-based processor, DSP-based processor. And processor has the coding of calculating the phasors of my voltage and current. You can write down, if somebody who asked this question, that inside this microprocessor, the processor, we have DFT-based phasor estimation technique. In the industry, it is implemented. I'm not talking it is a bookish knowledge. DFT means discrete Fourier transform. That DFT calculates your phasors of the voltage and current. And that phasors like voltage and current, from there, I can always calculate the sequence components like voltage, positive sequence, negative sequence, zero sequence, components of my voltage and current, and with a timestamp. That is the measure. We may ask you, ma'am, this is also done by the relays, that is done by other devices. What is the novelty in micro PMU? The PMU micro PMU has one more additional information. It is a timestamp. There is a oscillator, and that oscillator is linked with this global positioning satellite, and from there one reference time comes to the PMU ADC block. And at that point, it will start the, and converting the analog signal to the digital signal. So this is the major thing I can say in brief what is PMU. And PMU is completely a monitoring device, and it sends the voltage, current, phasors, and sequence components to any other control centers where the decision can be taken from those data. But PMU is not a decision-making device. It's a monitoring device. Is it okay? Who asked me this question? If I'm fine, you can even further also you can ask me. Yeah, somebody asked how the centralized grid will form and what is the control system and how tie line is work. Yeah, so this now honestly speaking, we don't have like centralized controller. For centralized control, I'm talking about, you know why? This is actually, you have like a small microgrid. This is my perception, and even many researchers, they are visioning in this direction. They are looking in this direction. How locally we can generate the power from the renewables, and locally we can supply the local generator. The customers. What will happen in that sense? We will just avoid the losses in the transmission level, right? So within that microgrid periphery, we have some central controllers and local controllers like that. Sorry. Okay, ma'am. So any further question? I'm very happy that all of you people invited me. I am very happy. Honestly speaking, I'm getting some chance to deliver in front of you. With some confidence. I'm gaining confidence due to you people. And I request from the beginning that if something wrong goes, you can reject it. Something good goes, then you can take it and accept it. And of course, you can always write me mails. I always say that we are not at all expert. Myself, I'm not expert. I'm also learning in this field. I need your cooperation, motivation, and of course, blessings from elders. So to move ahead, to go ahead in this my journey of this research. So I think this is from my side. Thanks to Sir Madam. You're just like my friend, and I'm really, really helpful to you. Very, very happy, with your ways of dealing and your behavior, everything. And thank you so much, ma'am, considering me for your invitation. Okay, and thanks to all. Yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah. Thanks to all participants. Please, anytime my mail ID is with ma'am, so you can always contact me, and you can also WhatsApp me, and anything like in my field it comes across, I'll be always there if I can help something. Some information. So due to time, because I have other staff also, because we in our department we run one smart grid course, and in NPL also I have one small course we have done with Professor Padi, Introduction to Smart Grid, but that is a very preliminary thing. And as the time goes, we are learning also. We are adding something new. With time permits in future in IIT Roorkee, we will do some work, so we will invite definitely. Okay, there are some lab demonstration we will do. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. One more thing, ma'am, I want to share, ma'am, our college YouTube channel, we are uploading all the eminence resource persons videos. STTP 1, 75% completed. It is available, ma'am. STTP 2 and 3 will be uploading soon, ma'am.
Yeah.
Kindly inform your colleagues and your students, ma'am. Let them, it will be useful for them, ma'am. I have circulated the messages to all participants for all resource persons also, ma'am, for STTP 1.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of our management, our college, department. I once again thank you very much for your valuable time you have spent with us for STTP 2 and 3, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your kind cooperation. See, actually, I am thankful to you people that given a chance to share my thought process with all of you. So,
Yes.
your blessings and motivation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.